Well, I guess the camera started for me. It said, we're ready for you to get this party started. So I'm getting ready to seal some layers of my Reborn. I have on my kaolin clay mask in the morning. So the weekend, especially when I wear personally a lot of makeup, I try to give myself a facial with the turmeric scrub, lemon, sugar, honey. I try to do the kaolin clay. This is the bubble mask. It's on Amazon. It goes on and it feels like bubbles. Then you massage it in and then it turns like this. And when you take it off, it have your skin looking so fresh and glowy. So again, this is the folk art. So yes, I talk funny, but that's what it is. So it's a sealer. So I do have some thin and medium, but I don't have a lot, and it's been hard for me to get a hold to thin and medium. So with the thin and medium, the thin and medium is expensive. So they've been giving me really little bitty bottles. Look at this. I'm paying like, for this thin and medium, I'm paying like $28 for something this tiny. And don't last too long. So I watched another YouTuber. She used this to seal her baby. So this is the kit that I've been working on. So now I'm just going to go through and seal him. So I like how it look. It don't leave that. Oh, and get matte if y'all wind up using this for your reborns. Don't get the gloss. Get matte so it can have that, you know, that matte finish. You don't want your baby looking all shiny or ashy. And I do still put this one when it dries from the look. I still put this one in my New Wave oven to, you know, cook it in there. But this is air dry. You don't necessarily have to, but I just like to make sure that it's dry. And I'm just using a makeup sponge, and I'm pouncing it on there. Put it on a plate, and I pounce it on there. And like I was telling you guys, making these reborns, I love doing it. I really truly love making these reborns for somebody that have anxiety or suffer from depression or something like that, and you just kind of need you something to do. You know, you just want to be in that zone. I like to paint in the morning by the window, letting the fresh air in. So, and for me, guys, I have the Genesis heat set paint, and then I do have the air dry paint that's made for reborns, and then I do have just regular acrylic paint. For me, it's a little bit easier to work with the acrylic paint than working with the Genesis heat set, because I don't know, it's just, you know, to me it's harder. But I will say, with my opinion, I realize that the Genesis heat sets, if you look at it, it really cook the layers into the vinyl. It's staining the vinyl, like, because it's heat set. So when you putting it into your New Wave, it's really cooking it into the vinyl. When I'm using the air dry paint, it's drying it, but it's like a layer. Like if I have to if I make a mistake and have to, you know, remove all the paint, the acrylic paint will come off in chunks. The Genesis heat set paint is harder to remove. But I'm watching, you know, steps on YouTube, and I'm trying to learn the best way of what will work for me with this Genesis heat set paint. I ain't gave it up, you know, overall, but I'm out of, you know, thin and medium, so you need that. So I'm kind of using heat sets. Another thing that I discovered, guys, because, you know, oil and water don't mix. But check this out. Like if you want to have some Genesis heat set, he needs to sit down so he can dry. I don't want him to roll over, and I need my glove, because what happens is you'll get fingerprints on him. So what I realized when you're working with the heat set paint, right, this is what I realized. Tell y'all this. I can do my modeling, my creasing, and my veining with Genesis heat set, right? And set it. And then I can turn around on top of that and use acrylic paint. once it cures. Now you can't do it together simultaneously. So meaning if you're working with Genesis heat set and you putting it on there, and then all of a sudden when that layer dry, you want to go on top of it with acrylic, oil and water don't mix. The paint will start sliding. It won't even stick. But if you allow, I'm sorry if I'm screaming, I'm getting excited. If you allow that paint to cure, then you could turn around and do your acrylic paint on top of that. So I don't know if you see, y'all see my veining, see the veins and stuff. That's what I did with this kit. I used the Genesis heat set as my undertones and stuff like that, because it cooks down into the vinyl. And then I went over the top of it with my acrylic paint. Another thing that, that I, because I took a break and I come back, and like I said, I'm still a work in progress. I'm not gonna say I'm the best Reborn. I don't compare my work. I feel like I'm still in the beginning stage. I enjoy it, and I'm gonna keep going till I get it perfection. I'm trying to learn how to root fine hair in a Reborn, and for me, as a ventilator. Ventilating to me was so easy. So it's the concept of seeing this. Now, yes, I can ventilate the long hair. I'll show you guys in a second. I can ventilate the long hair in a ponytail. I think it's on my other video. That's easy to do because you just mapping out and you put the hair in there, you're making it thick, and then you just going back like I did when I was ventilating, check my work to make sure it can part vertical, horizontal, and there's no bald spaces so that your customer can make ponytails and then not have any bald. That is simple to do. But what the trick is when they do that swerve and that really baby fine hair, and you have to use mohair. So if you guys want to do that pretty baby fine hair and you want to, make it look like authentic baby hair, you can't use no human hair. Now, on the other babies where I did the ponytails, some of them are, Gino, you okay? They are human hair. I've used the hair that I had left over to do the wigs. And yeah, I put it in a baby head because, give her the ponytails or whatever. But if you want to do some nice, beautiful, fine detail with hair, you have to use authentic mohair. You're not going to get it with no human hair. You ain't going to get that lay down or nothing. So another thing that I learned, and I hope that this is helpful, if you want to make the baby hair fine, the farther you move it apart, the thinner. The closer you move it together, the thicker. There's mono rooting and I don't know. I don't even want to get in there and be talking about something I don't know, but I'm gonna order. I've been looking for a very cheap test head, like just find a kit for probably $20 because I'm not gonna finish it. And I want to practice. In order for me to get that technique, that swirl, that beautiful, the way the hair lay, I gotta practice it. And you got to mess up. You got to keep going till your brain get the concept of what you're supposed to be doing. So that's something else that I'm going to have to do. I'm going to get a practice head and I'm going to practice so I can learn. And then another thing, guys, when y'all doing these kits, like this kit, he's a much softer kit. Like each vinyl kit is different. Some vinyl kits y'all get, if y'all touch them, even coming out of the oven, they head is hard. So when you start rooting, if you got a really hard piece of vinyl, it's going to be hard rooting that hair in there. But normally what I saw a lady do, I right before I get ready to ventilate, I put my head in a new wave oven and heat it up for about 7 minutes, take it out, and then, not hot right away, but then I go start rooting when the head is still semi-cool. But the lady takes a rice, put it in a sock, and keep warming up the rice. When you get a really hard head that's hard to get your needle through, you can use that. And when you're using the rooting needle, another thing, it have kind of like a ventilating needle. It have bars on it, some of them. So 2, 3, 4. So when you're doing it, if you study doing that and no hair is going into the vinyl, then you don't have your needle placed correctly. That's what's happening. So if you study pushing you'll know if your needle broke. When a needle break, they bend, they break. So if you realize that, then okay, like it's not going. But like what I noticed to know that it's going on, the way that the rooting needle is curved, that's normally the way that you want to hold it. And you put it in there kind of like at an angle like this, not just like this, just up and down. So when you're putting it in, it's like at at an angle. So these is little tips for my newbies that's starting and they want to do the reborns and stuff like that, and they giving themselves, they getting all, frustrated and like, oh God, I never be able to do this. That's one thing. Our minds is powerful. If you convince your mind you're never gonna be able to do something, you might as well put the process down. You are never going to be able to do it. So don't think in your mind you're never gonna be able to do it, guys. Practice, practice, practice. Start out with affordable kit. And don't get something too expensive. And last tip I want to give y'all. Don't take your paint and put a whole bunch of paint in a bowl and mix it up and start putting it on a baby. You're not going to get the nice textures and stuff like that, because it's going to just look like one of those manufactured dolls that just been painted or sprayed. You're not going to get, your veining's not going to show and everything. When they doing these reborns, they using like water-like consistency with your paint. In the process of doing a reborn, probably when it's over, you might have to put 30 layers of paint on that. And in between baking to get your baby to look more realer. Don't quickly go and if you guys want these dark babies, I'm going to mix my paint real dark and you get it right away. Your baby going to look, I just did a baby like that, and that baby looked like one of them black slave babies, them blackface. It didn't look right because I thickened that paint up and was trying to make the process easy. And you have to build your layers of paint. So set aside your time and say, you know what? Today I'm going to get up Sunday morning. If you got your kids, your husband or whatever, make their breakfast. Sit by a window, and let the natural light come in and just start your layers of paint. And at first when you're doing it, it's going to look like you ain't got nothing done. Nothing at all. Absolutely nothing. So take your time, set your layers, and build. So I don't know if y'all probably can't see. Y'all see down in there, you can see my veins and stuff. Yes, because I didn't just paint and put it on top and do it like that. Get you some good brushes. Find some nail brushes. Get you some good brushes and sponges. Like this one, I just use simply for doing this. Adding my varnish on to seal the dials, because you definitely want to do that with all the layers and layers of paint that you're doing. So the last thing, guys, I'm just talking. People say, is reborns for little kids? Like I've had some of my customers to buy them for their 7-year-old kids. So for the people that make these, y'all know we put these reborns together with the zip ties, the neck, and these are hand painted. A little girl is not going to know the pressure to put on these. And when they get frustrated, they're going to be pulling and yanking the hair. And then you'll have the mommies calling a plug fell out. Her arm came off or something. Kids is rough. So always educate your customers. Reborns are intended, if you look at it, for a child that's 14 and up. They're buying these babies and they spending $250 and $60 for their little 7-year-old girls. This year, my 11-year-old granddaughter, and this is my first time meeting her. We just got a DNA and finding out that she's my granddaughter, and she really, really, really wanted one. And, she was like, please, can I get one? And I feel like, okay, you know what? We're getting to know each other and this and that and that. And, she's 11, so she's going to spend, the winter break or whatever with me. So I was going to make her one, but just kind of tell her, don't rough handle it. Don't do this. And then sealing the hair and just, taking care of it. So that's important. So if you are going to sell them to younger people, let the parents know so they don't come back and be upset with you when the dial get ruined or the paint get chipped or something, because a little kid don't have no idea on what to do with a reborn. They're going to be throwing it on the floor. Boom. They're going to be doing this and that. And when something happened, you're going to get a person to say, well, I spent $200-$300 with you on that baby and the paint coming off and this, that, and that. Yes, ma'am, because they're not intended for little kids. So, and then for people that get on here and watch and think that we're weird, we're this, we're that, it's no different from those collectibles that people used to have. They're not made to touch, but they have the collectible dolls and they have them all dressed up. So it's nothing weird about it. There's no demonic, because some people are, can you make a Chucky doll? Or they be being funny. I personally don't make Chucky dolls, or nothing like that. But it's nothing demonic about it. It's just the art. It's an art. And we taking our time and we're painting these dolls and, trying to make them look as real as possible. So it's an art that we're doing. So I hope that these tips helped a couple of you people. And people say, why do you say you people? That sounds like a racist. I'm not trying to be racist. I hope this help you guys. So when I'm saying, I'm talking about everybody, no matter what color, no races intend, because I know people don't like when somebody say that. So, but and I can't take it out, but there's no racist intent when I said that, guys. Don't chop me up. So when this is dry, I'm gonna show y'all how he's looking. So I'm gonna do 2 layers of that. So he's starting to dry. See? And he got teeth. So he's starting to dry. And I'm going to do another layer. And I'm going to let this air dry. And then I put it in a wave oven. Another thing, don't put them freshly in a wave oven when they're wet. Because I did that before. And when they come out, they be chalky. Let them, you see how he sat there. You see how he looks wet now? Don't put him in. When he gets dry like this, then you can put them in the new wave oven. Because when I did that, just rushing, I be anxious. And I wind up, they be coming out looking like ashy, real chalky. Don't put them in the oven wet. Let the paint at least get, dry to the look. So, yes, I hope that helped you guys. And this is headed toward my beginners. Like I said, I don't know everything, but I'm learning. And one last tip, one last thing. Okay. A lot of people are on YouTube and they're selling their babies. They're selling their babies. So it's an art, it's a job, it's revenue. Everybody not gonna tell y'all everything. So a lot of these great reborn artists, we can watch their channels and everything. They showing us, I mix this, I mix that. I guarantee you in sales, it's something within they mix. They didn't tell us how they did it because they did it off camera. Because they in a business to sell. And it will be silly to give up every single thing. Even the instructors, they're going to teach you this, that, and that. You go to them wig shows. They're not going to tell you every single thing because they want you to keep coming back and spending money. So some things y'all going to have to figure out on your own. They'll give you so much, but you're going to have to figure out some things on your own, because I've did certain stuff and I'll be like, there's no way this is all that they did. Because when they mixing a lot of that stuff and you're trying to do those oil paints and that paint would not stick, it just kept sliding and this and that and that. So come to find out, to make that paint stick, you go over top of it. That's why I say I'm out of this stuff. Before you even start painting with this Genesis heat set, you use this thin and medium as a base to make the paint stick to the vinyl. Before y'all start painting this vinyl, you got to clean it with Dawn dishwasher liquid, because coming from the factory can be oil and all that stuff on it. And then I use gloves. I don't have them right now. I use these shower gloves. Where they at? Because, well, I'm not painting at this second, but where's my shower glove? I think I got them over there drying. But I put on gloves and I hold it because oil from your fingers get on the baby. So I put on shower gloves and when I'm painting. So those little shower gloves from the dollar store, I put those on when I'm painting, because when I go to put these in the oven, I be touching like this. My fingerprints be on the top of the head and it dries like that from the oil. So I use shower gloves when I'm doing it. So I hope that these tips help. And thank you guys so much. And thank you guys for starting to watch my channel again. I'm trying to give y'all something, new, something fresh or whatever. I'm going to be making some purses. I bring y'all aboard with that too. So thank you guys so much. These past couple years have been just a really hard year for me. But I finally got some peace with everything I've been through. Because y'all know, like, God knows, the people that know me, with what I've been through, losing a lot of my family members. It almost took me out of here. But as the song say, love brought me back. Yeah. So thank you guys. And I hope that helped. And just letting you guys know you can use this as a sealer when it's hard to get your hands on thin and medium. So I want a big one. So if there's anybody know how to get the 4 ounce of thin and medium, every time I Google it, a lot of companies is out. So thank you guys so much. Have an awesome Saturday. Bye-bye.